Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to the Three Gun Show, brought to you by Armalite Rifles, LAG Tactical, and Breda Shotguns. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. This week we have a return guest on the show, Pete Rensing, and I'm really excited to share this interview with you because unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've likely heard the clamor about UML and USSL, which are United Multigun League and United Shooting Sports Leagues. And Pete is the driving force behind the organization, so you will get to learn all about the new shooting opportunities all over the U.S. This podcast is also brought to you by LAG Tactical. I've been using LAG mag pouches and holsters for years, ever since James Casanova introduced me to their Nova holsters and their first-generation competition mag pouches. They have a new design for mag pouches out now in the MCS, the modular carry system, which features a two-piece design and fits a wide variety of pistol mags as well as different brands of AR mags. I got to see the prototypes in action when Scott Green won the Lucas Oil PCC Championship, and I'm excited to run them myself. Check them out at lagtactical.com. This podcast is also brought to you by Armalite. Through Armalite, I am able to get special pricing for listeners on their line of 3-gun rifles. They have a 13.5 and an 18-inch model, both with Armalite's patented tunable comp, Timney triggers, Luth AR stocks, and they're ready to go right out of the box. If you're more of a build-your-own rifle kind of person, I have a few of their competition handguards left in 12-inch and 15-inch sizes as well. So when you're in the market for a rifle or components to build your own, just email me, dave@3gunshow.com, and I will hook you up. Anytime you see me on the range, you can check out my rifle. I'm currently rocking the 13.5-inch Shorty 3-gun rifle with a Vortex Optics Viper PST 1-6 on it, which I'm really enjoying. At the beginning of last week's episode, I asked you to subscribe to the podcast and to tell a friend about it. If you haven't done that yet, please do. It helps the show rise in the rankings of iTunes, and then other shooters like you and I can see it, so the show grows. Because of the way Google, Facebook, Instagram, etc. treat firearms-related content, by that I mean they suppress it, word of mouth is the best way for the show to grow. So if you listen to an episode that you think will help someone you shoot with, please share it with them. You know, be a good bro, be a good shooter. Now, a couple of you went above and beyond the Call of Duty last week and left a review in iTunes, and I really appreciate those too because that also helps in the iTunes ranking and stuff. I want to share a couple of those with you right now. The first one is from Ozone for 105 points. And Ozone says, I look forward to every new episode, 5 stars. Dave and his guests make the sport of 3-gun easy to approach and understand. This seems to be one of the few firearms-related podcasts that accepts everyone, their guns and gear, and attempts to introduce and welcome them to sporting firearms. Dude, that's the goal of the podcast, is to get new people into shooting 3-gun. Like, I'm a total nut about shooting sports, and this is my way of sharing that. So thank you, Ozone. Thank you for that review, and I'm glad you're getting something out of it. The next one is from Glocktane, which is a pretty sweet name there. Glocktane says, beginner looking to be a lifetimer, 5 stars. I recently started to follow the 3-gun circuit and kicked around the idea of trying it out. After listening to the AR-15 podcast and hearing their interview with Dave in a recent episode, I started listening to the 3-gun podcast. He gave many pointers and has so many guests on, all of whom are more than happy to offer their opinions and expertise, especially to newcomers and those like me kicking around the idea of attempting 3-gun fun. I signed up for my first intro match this April and cannot wait to learn more from those in my neck of the woods. You have a lifetime subscriber. Thank you. Thank you, Glocktane. That is so cool to hear. Man, that's awesome to hear. Really glad to have you as part of the show, and it's cool that you're going to be getting out and shooting your first match as well. If you want to leave a review of your own, you can do so at 3gunshow.com/iTunes. And as always, I totally appreciate you doing that. Now on to the show. I started chatting with Pete about coming back on the show to discuss UML back in October. Yeah, that's like 5 months ago, I understand. But after shooting Pete's SHOT Show Expedition Multigun match in January, we finally made it happen. I had a ton of questions for Pete regarding UML, USSL, and all the other leagues that are associated with that. And we even took a bunch of questions from the audience on the 3Gun Show Facebook page. So everything you always wanted to know about UML right now with Pete Rensing. Pete, welcome back to the 3Gun Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me, man.
Pete, pumped to have you, dude. It's this is kind of a long time coming. You and I've been chatting for like a few months now about doing this podcast here, and then I got the opportunity to shoot a UML match in Vegas, and after doing that, I was like, God, we need to get Pete on the horn here.
Yeah, I know you were shooting, and I don't like to interrupt the shooters when they're out there having a good time. You know, if they need something, I'm there for them. But you were shooting, having fun, so I was around. I was just like, go, just keep doing it, man, and hopefully you had a good time, and yeah, it was awesome to have you out here shooting my match.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, so it's for folks that weren't there with us, it's the like the SHOT Show Aftermatch Expedition Multigun, right? And
Yep.
and traditionally, so this is my third SHOT Show. Traditionally, we're so tired at the end, it's like I can't even think about shooting a club match. But I was chatting with a few friends, and we all decided that, we're in this for the shooting. We're in this for the shooting sports. Why do we just issue this match after shot? And so there's probably a dozen of us that signed up for it and all shot on different squads and everything. And I got to say, I'm kind of nervous saying this because I might not get in yet next year, but this is kind of a must-do thing. You know, it's a good way to unwind after a whole week of being on the SHOT Show floor.
Yeah, that's actually our 8th one. This is the 8th time we've done the SHOT Show match. And the first couple were kind of just, it was a weekend that it was after SHOT Show. I was already running a match, and I was able to convince Travis Gibson and Craig Outson and Michael Voigt and some of the people that were at SHOT Show to shoot the match. And because I knew all these people were coming, I built this just gnarly match. And it was so much bigger than just a club match.
Mm-hmm.
And for like 3 years, they kept coming back and saying, this is just awesome. It's a great refresher, and it's a great, start to the season. And it wasn't an easy match. So they were like, man, you didn't give us a cakewalk. And the only reason they haven't keep coming is because, SHOT Show's tough. It's a long, busy week. If you're in a booth and you're stuck in a booth, and you're in a suit, and then meetings afterwards. And I had breakfast meetings and dinner meetings, and it's rough, man, to want to stay and play. It takes another level of dedication. I was super stoked to see, the matches fill up this year, and we're looking forward to it again next year.
Yeah. They filled up so much that you had to run them for a second day, right?
Well, what we did last year, which was the first UML match to the masses outside of what we did at Safariland and Surefire. Last year's SHOT Show match was the first time we ran a whole official UML book to shooters other than the people that have been coming to Surefire. So
Okay.
Last year we leapfrogged the 3-gun match and the pistol match in the same base at the same time, and we were fine. It was full, but we had like 3 squads of 3-gunners and 3 squads of pistol people, and the 3-gun squads were slightly smaller than the pistol squads so that it flowed. And so many shooters last year shot the first day, and they went, wait a minute. You mean I can come back tomorrow and shoot the same match with my pistol? And we were like, yep. And so we had people all over the country book another day of hotels and stay and shoot again. And that's kind of what evolved into this year. As soon as we launched it, the dang thing filled up in like a couple days, and we're like, what do I do? Like, the last thing I want to do is tell shooters they can't have a good time.
Yeah, no
And
joke.
so we begged the range, and we were able to commandeer the other side of the range where you shot the 3-gun match and the pistol match was going on the whole other side of the range. And we filled both of them up, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a good time. I actually talked to a couple people afterwards that were like, I would have shot it, but I didn't want to bring like all my gear out to Vegas and, my shotgun and my rifle and all the accoutrement and stuff like that. And I was like, well, you could have shot the pistol match. And then they were kicking themselves.
Yep. You could have shot the pistol match, and heck, with UML, you can shoot PCC only. You can shoot 2 guns, skip the shotgun. There's plenty of options for people traveling from pretty far away.
Yeah, and that was my first UML match. It was the first opportunity to see what you've been doing, because I've been shooting back east and Midwest primarily for like the last 2 years, and kind of didn't shoot a whole lot here in the western states. But I'm back in Colorado now. One of the local clubs here, Weld County Fish and Wildlife 3-gun, is flipping over to UML, and we're going to be shooting UML matches. And it's pretty cool. When I came back to Colorado, Pete, there was a couple guys, Wes Powell, Forrest Lathrop.
Yep, I know.
They went out and shot Kerry Palmer's Cedar Valley Multigun, which was the Expedition Multigun format, from my understanding.
That was our first state match of 2018 or 2017.
Yeah.
So that was our first, attack at a state level, and trying to draw some people in and introduce them to UML. And Kerry knocked it out of the park. The match was awesome. I went up there just to, I range mastered, but I went up there really just to drive around and answer questions and shake hands and see if anybody, and the response was unreal. It was so humbling. I had shooters, just coming over to my cart and sitting down and looking at me and going, man, thank you. Like, this is one of the most fun times I've had in a while. This is a totally different experience. I still don't understand why, but appreciate what you're doing. And that was a huge push for me to head home. And the whole drive home, I just was so excited to keep working and keep pounding and keep making this thing happen, because getting shooters to tell me thank you for doing anything, that's awesome. It felt really good.
Yeah, shooters are not easy to impress, right?
No, how many times have I run 8 years running the Multigun Nationals? I pour my heart into those stages, and I walk up to shooters and go, hey, how you doing? And the first thing I do is, oh my God, I forgot that target over there, and you hit that one target over there, and I tank stage 4, and it's like, I almost want to go, dude, I don't want to know how you're shooting. That's your problem. I want to know how you like the match. And I go, the match is fine, except, man, I'm that one stage. And so to have shooters come up and just say, this is awesome, thanks for what you're doing, it was amazing. It was 100% positive, and it was 100% the reason I came home and spent the next 6 months making it happen for the United Shooting Sports Leagues.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it when you hear that as a listener, you're probably thinking like, oh, it's just a sales pitch or whatever. But I heard this exact same thing from like a dozen people before you and I finally were like in the same place at the same time, shaking hands. And those first two people, Wes and Forrest, that told me about this, about the Kerry Palmer's match, they had the exact same thing to say. They had nothing bad to say about it. They said it was the most fun format they shot all year. And anyone else that went to like the Safari Land Expedition Multigun said the same thing. Folks that shot the expedition stages at Surefire, they all said the same thing. It's like the best format that they had ever shot. And, I went and shot, a club match. It was a kick in the pants. And why? I can't quite put my finger on it. Pete, what is it?
I can't even tell you 100%. It's just an evolution of a lot of matches. I mean, when I started this 8 years ago, my coach and close friend Michael Voigt told me, you're crazy and you're only going to be able to run matches for a couple of years, and then you need to be out there shooting. And I love shooting, and I shoot okay, but I don't know. There's just something about putting it down, building it, people coming, having a good time. It works for me. I love teaching, and I get a little bit out of that when I build a good solid match and people say, they learned something in my stages. So almost without me teaching a class, if I build something that somebody learns something inside, I'm getting it all mixed in there. But I honestly can't even tell you, other than the fact that in the last 8 years, we figured out that I've run or built over 1,000 matches.
Jesus.
From club level all the way to national level. There was a couple years where we ran 3 matches a week, running a Saturday, a Sunday, and then a Monday evening. We also did a Thursday evening for a while. So there was a couple years where we ran like 150 matches in a year. And over that amount of time, I just started listening to the problems, and instead of complaining about them or trying to fight them, I tried to find ways to fix them. And that's what we figured out. Expedition is all about shooting faster, shooting more, resetting less, and spending more time hanging out with your friends. And that's what this sport's all about. I mean, we all want to be pro shooters, and we all want to go mainstream. But the reality is, it's about you and I getting together when we live, 2,000 miles apart. It's about me and Travis getting together when we live, he's in Idaho. It's about me and Voight in California. It's about you and your family and your friends getting together and then having a good time and spending probably more time hanging out and gabbing and shooting than you are picking up steel, painting targets and resetting, which we all know is the majority of what you do on the range when you play our game.
Absolutely. When I describe what three gun is, if I'm with someone who's going to, have a good sense of humor and things like that, I describe it as like picking steel up off the ground, setting it on a stand, and then every now and then they let you shoot it.
Yeah. People with my students, it's so easy to say, hey man, how long were you on the range today? 5 hours. How many stages you shoot? 6. How long did you shoot each stage? 20 seconds. So you shot for 1 minute and 20 seconds and you spent 5 hours picking up stuff.
Yep.
I mean, that's the reality of it. It's a very mental game, and the more time you can have hanging out and having a good time, I think it makes the reset a little bit better. It makes it a little bit simpler if you're with good people and having a good time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. When people talk about like, how do you train to shoot three gun? The answer should be like single leg dumbbell deadlifts.
A lot of lunges.
A lot of lunges.
You reach, you step, and then you step, and you tape, and you pick up. And
yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Well, so here on the Three Gun Show, we like to talk about like the origin story, and that's actually the reason that I got into this. Is I love hearing where things came from and that sort of thing, and that's what we're here to talk about is UML, USSL. Like, where did this idea start, and what am I supposed to call it?
Yeah. So it's the United Shooting Sports Leagues.
Okay.
And essentially where it started, it started 4.5 years ago when Michael Voight and Barry Duke came to me with Surefire, and they said, we want to do our own match and we want to do something a little bit bigger, a little bit different. At that point, we got with a couple of key players and we started to formulate a rule book. Now, at this point, it was basically just another Outlaw rule book. And we all know that there's a huge place for Outlaw. And there's so many matches out there that I've shot, from Ironmans to Blue Ridges to Rocky Mountains, that are always going to be Outlaw. And, and they have a flavor and they're fun. It's a great time. But I was looking at it from my standpoint of, I went to every one of these matches and I was ROing all of them, and I'm ROing different rule books and different standards. And it's really confusing. If you're going to spend time traveling all over the country, it got really confusing. So when we started the book, I was kind of like, man, this is terrible. I'm just making it more confusing. I'm gonna cater to the problem, and that everywhere you go, it's like, oh, you can't use that, you can't use that, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't get in trouble for that. So I tried to really, really hard formulate the Surefire book to be somewhere as neutral as possible. Don't go so crazy to one side or the other, and really just let people play. And we didn't have any restrictions on, coupled this or mag lengths this, or it was like open's open, tack, you got a couple restrictions, but have a good time. And we built that book, and everybody came and shot Surefire, and we got a really positive response from it. So fast forward, without telling you anything about the next 3 years, fast forward 4 years later, well, we've been running Surefire for 4 years. Everybody's having a good time with it. Our local club has started to use that rules on a regular basis. And we decide, let's run what we now have called United Multigun League. Let's run that to the masses. And that was SHOT Show last year. And the response was insane. When people went home, I received phone calls from a dozen clubs nationwide saying, I had a shooter come back from your match saying, you're doing some good stuff out there. Can you tell us what we can do to improve? Wow. And it wasn't that they wanted to adopt United Multigun League at the time. It was just, hey, we run an Outlaw club and you run an Outlaw club, and what can we do? And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty humbling. Like, all I'm trying to do is just, make it awesome for everybody. So I had a couple clubs start beta testing, and that pretty much opened up my insurance and my lawyers and my everybody to go, okay, if you're going to do this, you probably need to do it right. And that was the beginning of United Multigun League. Now, realistically, about a month later, I had a long sit down with Michael Voight, and I had another long sit down with Ken Nelson and the Practice Score team, explaining what I wanted my templates to be like and what I wanted to do. And that's when I was kind of, by both two people that I extremely respect in the industry and organization, I said, where do you think we should go with this? And they were like, why would you stop at multi-gun? You're already doing awesome stuff at your local club. You've been running steel matches for 2 years. You've been running carbine matches for a year. You've been running pistol matches for 5 years. Why not an organization that has everything? Why not an organization that anybody could go to a club on every single week, like my club? We run every single Saturday, every Sunday. And every time they get there, there's not a confusion of what rule book are we in? Are we allowed to use that wall for support? Can we cut the fault lines? Can I couple my mags? What's the scoring principles? And so essentially, United Shooting Sports Leagues lets us have every type of practical shooting sport under one umbrella, with the same scoring standards, the same divisional requirements, the same safety standards. And now all my shooters, they get to come and they don't have to wonder what's going on.
I like that a lot.
We have a couple other clubs that are already running all 4 leagues and testing for us. And again, it goes into that same thing where now shooters can show up. They know exactly how they're going to be scored. They shot PCC only last week at the pistol match, and now they're going to shoot PCC only at the steel match. And next week, they can shoot PCC only at the multi-gun match, and then they can, there's just so many options and so many things they can do, and that's it. That's the history, man. It was kind of told, hey, you're doing a great job. Why don't you keep going? And here we are, 6-8 months after those couple meetings, we launched United Shooting Sports Leagues at SHOT Show this year, and we got members and clubs and stuff blowing up everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at SHOT Show. I was sharing a house with Scott Green and Bobby Colvey, and the night before we went and shot the match, they're like, hey, you need to sign up for USSL. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. But, of course, obviously they explained it to me, and figured it out from there. But
yeah, well, Scott Green was one of the guys last year at SHOT Show that stayed an extra day to shoot again.
Nice.
Went back home to his club, and then I actually went. I've had a couple of sit-down meetings. I went up to Reno and sat down with Bobby and explained to him everything we were doing so that he could get on board. And he's come down here and had a meeting with me. And yeah, it's been an awesome ride, man. It's so much fun and it's humbling, and it's crazy how it feels, but it's just so much fun, and it's so awesome that people are getting on board, and it just makes me want to push even harder.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about let's keep on the big picture for a couple minutes here. So Michael Voigt and Ken Nelson encouraged you to create like a league that encompassed all the shooting sports, which is a fantastic idea in my opinion, as a guy who travels a lot and is constantly like trying to figure out the new gotcha rule at different matches, right?
Yep.
And no one's obviously. We think that no one's here to hang the shooters or anything like that. But when I say gotcha, it's just like it's different from the last match. That's what I mean.
100%.
Yeah. So the USSL. So what? First of all, like, what is the structure? Is it like a member organization like USPSA? Is it like an LLC? Is it like a corporation? Like how does and like
we actually funneled it. We funneled it after several meetings with our lawyers. We funneled it underneath iScope LLC.
Okay.
Now, iScope for so many people that don't know, iScope's an acronym. And when I started it, the acronym was Innovative Shooting Concepts and Optimized Practical Education. So I had 2 tiers that were created, and one of them was all the matches that I was running, and that was my shooting concepts. Like, what can I do to make the shooting sports better? And then Optimized Practical Education. That's all my classes that I teach. And I've been an instructor, a coach, a mentor for tons of different sports since I got out of the military. Mm-hmm. From the world to national to even Olympic level. And so I love teaching. It's by far my passion. If I could just be on the range teaching, that's probably all I would do. And so essentially when this thing started to grow, it was like, you know what, we just need to funnel this under part of iScope. And so essentially it's an LLC. United Shooting Sports Leagues is its own entity underneath that LLC. It has its own set of licensing, its own set of its own names, its own websites, its own business, everything. Mm-hmm. And we're essentially, my biggest goal, there's so much, we probably don't have time to talk about it, is we have our ranking system and our qualification title system. And that the upper echelon of my ranking system is the elite members and then the executive members. The 2 highest ranks our elite member, and then executive member, and then the commander. And the elite member and executive members, my goal down the road is that's what's going to develop the board, if you will. So rather than voting in people are going to earn their way into the decision making of this organization based on their amount of time and the work that they put in to build more matches, RO more matches, support more matches. You get points just by being a member. You get a point every day just by being a member. But if you're a match director for your local club, you get 50 points for that club match. If you're a stage builder for that local club, you get 25 points. If you're a match director for a level 2 match or level 3 match, all the way up to the level 4 matches, you're getting like 200 points just for being a match director of a level 4 match. So essentially, if somebody were to do nothing other than shoot matches, it would take 20 years for them to make executive member. But I've already estimated out that I'm going to have executive members in 5 years. And in 5 years, I believe that those executive members will have worked 20 years worth of work in 5 years. They deserve to help make the decisions and help run this thing and help make this thing better year after year after year.
Interesting. So now does that work into the classification system, like the rookie, marksman, sharpshooter, and then it ends up at executive? I was a little confused on that when I was reading the rules.
Yep, a lot of people are. No, it's two different trees, two different directions that it's going to go.
Okay.
So you have a ranking system and you have qualification titles. Let's talk about ranking. Ranking is just how you're going to move through the ranks based on either just earning a point a day or working for your local club. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get more people to help RO matches, more people to help build matches, more people to help support the clubs. And in the growth of that, that's going to establish an echelon of people that are putting in the work, and that's going to be your higher ranking individuals. And that's rank. Okay.
I like that.
Now, qualification titles. Qualification title is all about how you perform at a match. Okay. Forget a stand and shoot stage. Forget a stage you shoot over and over and over again. Forget a stage that the local club builds because they have to and nobody really wants to shoot it. You go shoot your local club match or the state match or the district match, and when you're done, your percentage of the overall winner in that match is your points for your qualification title at that level.
Oh.
So now essentially you can have a guy that at their local club is probably one of the best shooters there. And in just four events, they score 4 90s to 100s, and that becomes your local pro. So now you have a United Multigun League TAC Optics Division local pro. And that guy may not be a pro at the national level, but that's the guy at your local club that you want to learn from. You may take a class from, you may go ask him some questions.
Yeah. There's all kinds of guys like that I've learned a ton from.
Yep. And on the other side of that tree, there's these guys over here that, not everybody that builds matches is going to be the local pro. You're going to have a lot of people that put in a lot of effort to make matches better that may only be a marksman or a sharpshooter, an expert. And so those are your higher ranking guys. And so you can go to your ranking guys in a couple years and you can talk about how to get involved, how to be an RO, how to help build. And you can go to those local pros and ask them how to get better. How do I do this better? How did you learn how to do this? So I'm gonna almost create the league is going to create 2 different branches, and those branches are the ranking system and the qualification title system.
I like it. So the encouragement of people helping, set up, tear down club matches, RO major matches. I dig that. That seems like a big value pitch to local clubs. Like, we're going to give you a way to encourage participation here and maybe get the hammer out of your hands for once.
Yeah, you need support. You need help. Like I said, 1,000 matches in 8 years. I've had a lot of help along the way, or I'd have no arms left.
Yeah, I shook your hand. You've got a good grip. You've definitely been swinging the 5-pound sledge.
Yeah, I definitely still swing the sledge. I smashed my finger pretty good today. It was awesome.
Oh, nice. All right, so then under that, under USSL, we have UML, and then there's a pistol league, which is, I'm guessing, UPL.
Yep.
And then a rifle league.
Yep. URL.
What else we have?
And we have our USL, which is our steel league, and our steel league is all steel matches. We have 2 different styles that we're running here at our local club. and that's where our shotgun only division lies.
I
Because
was going to ask why no
basically-
shotgun love.
Yeah, no, I love shotgun, but trying to build an all shotgun match and trying to get a bunch of people right now, it's motivating because we got the World Shoot.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that strategic match design and dissident and guys are getting on board and helping train some people for that world event. But when the IPSC World Shotgun's over, we're going to go back to everybody hates shotguns.
Yeah, nobody thinks about it for another 2 years, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I need to practice.
Yeah. Yeah. So our all shotgun league just hides inside United Steel League. And that's basically because obviously predominantly an all shotgun match is going to be 99% steel.
Mhm.
You might have a few clays. You might have a couple of slugs on some paper. But I prefer slugs on steel over slug tape and dealing with, slug tape and backers and wads causing a second hole and scoring nightmares. And I've pushed away from slug paper a long time ago.
Plus, it sounds awesome when you hit that steel with a slug.
Yeah, totally. But we're definitely allow if someone's shooting an all shotgun match inside United Steel League and they put some paper, it can be scored. It's in there. So, but yeah, those are the 4 leagues, and we're stopping there. The Rifle League has so many different variables going on in it, but we tried to cover everything. There's a PCC only division in every single one of them. We have 22 divisions. In the multi-gun league, we have, simple things like just 2-gun. The future of multi-gun, there's so many people shooting 2x4 right now. It's out of control. People are just calling on, asking me questions on left and right. So yeah, that's the 4 leagues underneath United Shooting Sports Leagues. And you join just United Shooting Sports Leagues. You don't join United Multigun League. You join United Shooting Sports Leagues and you get to shoot all the leagues. You're in everything. In fact, you don't even need to join to shoot all the leagues. You just, if you want qualification titles, if you want ranking points, and if you want to win a plaque, a trophy, a medal at one of our higher level 2, 3, and 4 events, you would need to be a member. But at no point will we force people to be members just to come to their local club and have a good time.
Right on. Well, I do like the rankings. I do want the trophy. How many points do I get for being a podcast host? By the way.
Wait. We'll have to add that. It's not in the rules right now.
Addendum. We'll have to add an appendix.
Yeah, appendices, podcast host.
Yeah. All right. So then, I think I'm following you here. 2x4 is something that had to be explained to me. So for folks that are listening, let's explain what that is. And then I'll say that so obviously it has a PCC in it. You alluded to that. I'll say that a lot of guys that I thought were like strongly against having PCC in 3-gun are now interested in this 2x4 league now that we have, or the 2x4 division now that we have UML League in Colorado.
Yeah, I can be straight honest. Okay, when PCC came into the pistol world, you and I both know there's these T-shirts out there. PCC's not a crime, and
yeah.
And you had all these open shooters getting all upset because the PCC guy beat him at a pistol match, and it was constant. And I've worked in the snowboard world and the ski world, and I dealt with snowboarders versus skiers, and we've all dealt with IDPA versus USPSA, and I was kind of like, all right, we don't need to complain about PCC. We need to involve PCC, and we don't need to discard the pistol or discard the rifle and make the PCC slide into one of those places. It was kind of like, it was me and Mark Zebar. We were kind of hanging out. We were chatting about it. We're like, how do we stop this argument? And it was like, why don't we just let them bring their PCC? And I worked in the golf industry in Hawaii for a couple of years. I was like, yeah, it's perfect. They've got their golf bag. They can bring their 13 clubs and pick the one they want. So let's just let them bring their PCC and add it to their bag of three other guns. And now we've got a whole new division, and it'll be funny. And we kind of chuckled, and we probably were drinking, and it was kind of a joke. We're like, hey, what are we going to call it? Oh, I don't know. They got to shoot 2 guns and they have 4. Let's call it 2x4. And that's the beginning of 2x4. It was literally a conversation, just kind of trying to figure a way to involve PCC and multi-gun. And it took me a whole 5 minutes once that conversation was over to go, oh my God, this is it. Like, all I have to do is push the knockdowns back a little bit further so that they can be engaged with the PCC or the shotgun. Now they can be engaged with the PCC or the shotgun and the pistol. So now I have paper that can be engaged with a PCC, a pistol, or a rifle, and knockdowns that can be engaged with we have a whole new world of divisions. Now we got a 2-gun division and a PCC only division inside multi-gun. So essentially I had my pistol shooters showing up to my multi-gun matches shooting PCC only because they don't own a rifle or a shotgun.
Right.
But now they can play on that off weekend, that weekend that maybe their wife's out of town or maybe their wife's in town and says, get out of the house. They can come play instead of calling me and saying, hey man, is it pistol weekend? Nope, it's multi-gun. Oh man, I don't have 3 guns. Well, you got your PCC. So they came and had fun. And then all the multi-gunners that were playing with PCC on the side were like, yeah, let's do this. And here we are, PCC only and 2x4 tack and 2x4 open. Bring your tack gear, bring your PCC, bring your open gear, bring your PCC, pick 2 guns, have a good time.
So UML is a safe space for PCC shooters.
Yeah, it's a safe area.
Nice.
No, yeah. We're catering to everybody.
I like it. Well, I actually was one of those people that didn't really like PCC in 3-gun for various reasons, and then I shot an all PCC match, and it was just a kick in the pants. It was so much fun. So PCC in 3-gun, one of the biggest things is like, oh well, they don't have to shoot the 400-yard targets. Of course, they're going to run it faster. Now you can't place them in high overall, which of course I don't think high overall should be a thing anyway because we're all shooting different divisions. But the UML match that I shot in Vegas, you just had separate targets out there for the PCCers. They didn't shoot the 360 or the 320 or whatever they were targets. They shot everything else that was on the stage, right?
Yeah, and actually that was a test. That was our first time testing some of the new systems. On one of the stages, we had 3 far targets from 2 different positions that all the rifle guys had to shoot. And so we put out 6 knockdowns at 2 different distances for the PCC guys to shoot. Now that happened to be a stage that people were going to walk down range and do some resetting. One of the reasons we started to kind of toy with some optional targets wasn't even so that we could match the PCC guys with the rest of the group, because again, like you just said, overall, at this point, we're not comparing oranges to oranges or apples to oranges. We're comparing like pizza to tuna. I mean, when you talk about everything that we're doing with the divisions, somebody can't be bragging about overall. I won overall because I shot, this or that.
Yeah.
I like the bragging rights, and there's always going to be a way inside the competitor app in Practice Score to see what overalls are. But all of United Shooting Sports Leagues is going to be going into a divisional only readout. And that way everybody can just do what they need to do in their division and compete against. You want to compete against the other division, then go join that other division. But long story short, so we had a couple matches that there was a local club matches where one of their stages had to be on a long range bay, almost like a club has a range where you can shoot some far targets, but in that same area, you couldn't run around with other guns just based on the berms and the scenario. And so rather than the PCC only guys going to that match and not having a stage at all. So try to imagine this is a rifle only stage, or at bare minimum, we had a couple clubs where it was like 8 shotgun knockdowns and then go to the rifle, and you could walk down range like 10 yards, but that was it. And so we went into the other test that we did at SHOT Show, which was the MGM spinner target with the PCC. And we put the MGM spinner target. They can put that thing out there at, 25, 30 yards. PCC guys have to spin the spinner, which is an average of 10 rounds. And the rifle guys would have to shoot all the long range targets. And at least the PCC guys got a stage. They got something to do. They could shoot the 8 knockdowns with their PCC and then run to the other position and spin the spinner. And we did a video. We posted a live video of some of the guys shooting the spinner at 45 yards with their PCCs at the SHOT Show match when the match was all over. And we had Ruben from Vortex spinning the spinner at 45 yards with his PCC offhand in 5 and 7 seconds.
Nice.
So it's definitely doable. It's definitely possible. It just takes, some well-aimed shots, some good trigger control. And then Ruben actually shot the 340-yard BCC flashers with his PCC. And in the video, after he hits the thing, after like 4 rounds, he leans into the camera. He's like, the sad part is that was way faster than I did it with my rifle. So we're toying with some things and some options, and we're going to try to come up with some stuff that can help the clubs make all the divisions intertwine and get everybody to have a good time. And that's what it's all about. Getting the clubs to give everybody a chance to come out, shoot their match, shoot the guns they want to shoot, and everybody's having fun.
Good. Well, and that's what it's all about is having fun too, right? So Pete, when we have long range targets on these stages, and then you throw in some PCC targets as well, one of the complaints that I've seen from a lot of competitors and match directors online is like, now you're asking for a match director to put out additional targets, more setup, more work for someone who's already taxed, and in most parts of the country are doing it at a volunteer type of situation. So what do you say to that for like a complaint about 2x4?
Yeah, no. One of the things that 2x4 does is it requires, at a big match like a Safari Land match, we put 3 pickups and dumps on every stage, so beginning, middle, end. So the 2x4s had so many options, it was mind blowing. At the local club level, I've told everybody, put 1 transitional station out there, just like the rifle to pistol or the pistol to shotgun, and the 2x4 guys have to use that station and solve the problem. They still get to choose guns, they still get to be creative, but the local match director does not have time to put enough pickups and dumps for the 2x4s to have exactly what they want. As far as the optional target or the additional target for PCC, that's why we try to do something as simple as an MGM spinner or just a couple of knockdowns. And there's a couple of clubs that aren't going to do that, and that's fine. If you've got a stage that's got, a bunch of shooting and then some long range, and the PCC guy gets to still shoot something on that stage, you don't need to do anything extra. There's no reason to make the PCC round count match the TAC Optics round count, because it's 2 totally separate divisions. And that's the reason for us going away from divisional or overall results and just the divisional results. I want the PCC guys to go be able to have a good time, shoot what they can, and if that's what they choose to shoot, they're fine with it. None of my local guys that shoot pistol matches that bring their PCCs to my 3-gun match complain that they didn't get to shoot as much as the 3-gunners. They all say, we're just happy to be able to shoot on another weekend.
Yeah.
And that's what it was all about. There's no reason for a match director to do tons more work to make it happen. The reality is, the work is that you don't put the knockdowns for shotgun at the 15 feet that you can based on safety distance standards for a bird shot. You now just have to push those knockdowns out to that 10-yard distance so that the PCCs and the pistol guys can shoot at them. So it's not more work, it's just changing your work. It's adding some distance to some of the targets that you may have forced people to shoot with shotgun, because now you got people that may try to shoot them with a center fire, pistol, or PCC.
One of the coolest ways that I saw that particular thing done was at a Dissident Arms match in Texas. And Mike and Lan are the guys that put that on. And Mike was telling me how he runs PCC at his matches. And he's like, I just tell them, you guys figure out which targets you're going to shoot, which ones you're not going to shoot. And as long as you guys do it the same, it's fine with me.
Yeah, Lan's with us. He's doing stuff with us. We're going to be doing something pretty fun with Mike and Lan later on this year. We're probably going to do a couple matches with them. But one of the things we're going to do that Mike really wants to do that I'm excited about is going to be a PCC versus open shotgun match.
Oh.
And essentially it's going to happen inside the United Steel League rules, so that we can get other people involved and keep people having fun. We will have attack shotgun division and even a pistol only division, because as we started to design the match, I basically was like, all right, there's really nothing you can do here that I can't do with my pistol. As a GM pistol shooter, I can shoot those knockdowns. I can shoot those slug gongs. So we're going to have a pistol division, PCC only division, which will probably lend more towards like attack PCC, an open PCC versus open shotgun, and also a shotgun division. So it's going to be something no one's ever seen before. It's going to be awesome, and we're super excited to be a part of it.
Dude, that sounds like a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I mean, I want to see the Dissident Arms shotguns battling PCCs. It almost makes me want to grab a PCC and go attack, and say like, all right, Mike, I drove here. I'm bringing it.
Yep. This is your home turf. Let's do this.
Yep. This is your shotgun, your turf. I got this silly thing over here. I'm going to make it happen.
Well, Pete, when you create like a big league like this, obviously you have to break it down into manageable pieces, right? Because the United States is a very big place, and we do things different all over the United States, as I've found. So obviously the simplest thing to do would be split it up by state, but then now you've got like 50 different sections or whatever. So how did you split up the country in USSL, and like what does that like hierarchy look like?
Yeah, so we wanted to break the country. We know that in three gun, or multi-gun, which is where we started, that's our roots. A lot of people don't want to fly with all their gear. They want a match that they can drive to,
especially 2x4.
Yeah, right. Now I got a whole nother gun.
Yeah.
So we wanted to break the country up into a lot of smaller groups, and we looked at kind of driving distances, and we also looked at mass groups of clubs. We know so many places that have like 3 or 4 clubs in a short distance, and we started to break it into what we're calling our districts. And we have 15 districts in the United States. And now that we've started to get members in Canada, we went ahead, because our member numbers start with your district, we went ahead and started to assign Canada districts. So now we're up to 20 districts, giving 5 districts to the territories in Canada.
Oh man, how cool is that?
So yeah, it's super cool. So we have 15 districts, and that's our level 2. So, sorry, let me back up. Level 1 is your club level. Level 2 is state level. And level 3 is our districts. Okay. And then we even went a whole nother step further than that. Level 4 matches, which essentially would be a national match. Unfortunately, we know that when you run a big major on the East Coast with multi-gun, a lot of the West Coast guys don't go. Guys and gals on the East Coast don't come to the West Coast. So rather than just trying to say that the Safariland Expedition match is the only is the only level 4 match that's going to happen, we then went ahead and broke the country into 6 territories. So we got the Northwest, the Southwest, the South Central, North Central, Northeast, and so now we can run level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 matches all over the country. We can get all the clubs that are already running matches, some of the majors and some of the outlaw matches that have already been happening, that have already contacted me and say, hey, we already have an established match, we're good to go, but we want to join, we want to be a part of what you're doing, and we're honored and welcoming them and offering any kind of support possible.
That's way cool. So where am I in Colorado? Is that Southwest?
Well, it's you got a territory, and then you're also District 7.
District 7, okay.
Yeah. You caught me blind. I don't have my map. But I'm pretty sure you're District 7. District 6 is just below Texas area. And then 5 is up and towards the west. So pretty sure you guys are 7. Nice.
That's the districts is very what is that? To kill 'em? No, what am I? Mockingjay? What's the thing with
Yeah.
What am I trying to think of?
I found my map. I lied. You're Colorado. You're District 3.
District 3.
But yeah, no, we're the Hunger Games, bro.
Hunger Games. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Yep. We're the Hunger Games. We started to think about it, and we started to break it all down. And with our ranking system, we kind of went back to the military and marksman sharpshooter expert in our qualification titles. Those are military marksmanship titles. So
okay.
We've gone back to my roots. I'm 3rd generation Marine, and I sat down with some friends of mine here that have put in way more time and put 20 years into their service. And I have other people on my organization that are still currently active duty. And Mark Zebart just got back from a tour overseas, and these are all the guys that are writing my rules and the rules committee and helping me build matches. And yeah, we're just going back to some military roots. It's worked for centuries for everybody else. It should work for us.
Yeah, no kidding. You should bring back Archer.
Mm-hmm.
Archer, spear guy. I don't know what they call him.
Yep.
Well, okay, so we talked about the districts and everything. So if someone wants to join this, wants to get like a club, although I guess those are 2 questions. If someone wants to be a member of USSL, how do they do that?
General membership just happens on UnitedShootingSportsLeagues.com. or we shortened it to ussleagues.com. And if you go there, you'll see a membership tab, and you can read all about membership and everything that goes on. And then at the bottom, you just fill out a short little name, address, blah, 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 phone number, hit submit, and then we get an email. And then at the same time, you can go into the store, and inside the store, you'll see matches. So you'll see Safariland and the Two Gun PCC Championship and Surefire, and you'll see some of the major matches that we're running, and you can actually pay for your matches online now rather than sending in checks, because people just don't write checks anymore.
Dude, it's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, people just don't write checks anymore. So those are all in there, and at the same time, while you're in there, you can find a membership, and you just grab that $40 membership, throw it in your cart, and check out. So that's joining United Shooting Sports Leagues. And then for the clubs, as soon as I have all the club plugins ready on each individual league website, so now that you're done with United Shooting Sports Leagues, you can click on the icons for Multigun League, Pistol League, Steel League, and Rifle League, and that will send you to a whole nother website. And that's where, so say you just want to shoot multigun, well, you're going to go to UnitedMultigunLeague.com, and you're going to be able to go in there, and when I get it all done, you'll be able to click on the district that you're in, you'll be able to click on the state that you're in, you'll be able to click on the local clubs that you shoot at, and it's going to pop up all the information you need to know where you go to shoot.
That's awesome, man. I love it. The cool thing is, get your member number texted to you.
Yeah, that's
got a little robot texting all your members there.
Yeah. That robot name's Pete Rensing.
Oh,
yeah. So Tanya and I, we each night we upload the new members, and each night we double check that we have a lot of people and unfortunately it's just our system. Our system's a 2-piece system, so we have so many people that will pay but not join, or join but not know how to pay. And so They'll join and send us an email, and we'll send them one back. Or they'll pay, and then I got to write them and go, hey, man, thank you so much for your support. We're honored to have you on board, but I need you to go back to membership and fill out your information so I can put it in the payroll. But, we have all these clipboards, and we have all these things, and the goal is to support the clubs better than ever before. And so I'm taking everybody's phone numbers, and I'm putting them in a phone, and me or one of my staff is standing by all the time on that phone to answer questions, comments, texts. Basically people just hit me up on like weekends like crazy. It's like, I'm at a match and this just happened, and what do we do? So, and we call them back, or we text them back, and we say, no problem, this is all you got to do. Read
the rule book, bro.
Yeah, right. No, but it's tough, Outlaw, and there's so much going on out there. And I try to explain it to people all the time. Like, if you're a parent and if you had a couple kids and they were in soccer, and your local soccer league earned a chance to go to the state match, and you got to the state match, and the referees told your kids, you can't wear those cleats. Oh, and our net is twice the size as everybody else's.
Yeah.
The ball is smaller, and you can't have that many kids on the field. It's like, that's essentially what we've done to multi-gun, is we've made it so that no matter where you go, there's somebody that's got to tell you a new rule book, a new set of standards for your equipment, a new set of, and it's like, that wouldn't be fair to our kids. We'd probably tell those people, like, never mind, we're not going.
Go pound sand.
But that's what we do in multi-gun. We do it, and we gladly accept. Oh, that will get me in trouble here, but it won't over there. All right, I got it.
Yeah. Well, a couple of stories I can tell you on that one. First, I think we've accepted it. We accepted it so long when like things were in the dark age and we were sending letters and stuff like that we just never got out of that as a multi-gun culture, right? But we've progressed past that. We can move past that. We can all get along, I hope. Two, I was listening to a podcast recently with Mike Foley, and he described Three Guns organization structure as being unorganized. He's like, that's their structure, is being unorganized. And I thought that was kind of funny. It was a nice little dig, considering, he's head of the USPSA, which runs, multi-gun nationals, but he's got a point. He's got a very good point, but
no, it is. It is. That's exactly the point.
USPSA had an opportunity for 30 years, so it's cool to see other people stepping up. And then I was on a couple podcasts recently where I was talking to the hosts, who one was a USPSA member on one podcast, and on another podcast we had guys that were like really into AR-15s, but they had no competition context whatsoever. And one of the questions I got was, well, what is the best rule set to adopt? And I was like, well, geez, man, that's like, what's your favorite color of or your favorite flavor of Baskin Robbins? You know, like there's so many different rule books out there, and there's so many different sets of rules that you know, but there's also like, I mean, Pete, I could do like 1,000 Venn diagrams of like all the things that are the same amongst all these different matches. Like we almost kind of agree on TAC. We almost kind of agree on limited. We almost kind of agree on open, right?
Yep.
So there's and shoot, even one in the A or two anywhere is something that we almost always agree on.
Yep. That's been going on too.
Yeah, but yeah, it's for you know, like local clubs. You know, we here in Colorado, we've got a USPSA club. We have a club with their own rule set, and now we have a UML club. So we have three different sets of rules within 4 hours of each other.
Yeah, and I'm going to continue to run USPSA handgun match on my second weekend forever, as long as I can, because I have members that want to be a part of that. And you know, I don't have a problem if my members are members of USPSA, members of IDPA, members of USSL. That's just good for shooting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the more, you know, as long as we all work together, we get more people shooting, we get more people competing. That's more gun sales. That's more positive gun out there, and we all, that's what we need right now. So I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm trying to offer something to a lot of clubs, and mine included, that we're running almost a no rules, an outlaw. I mean, that's realistically, if you create your own rule set without an overhead governing body, not the IMG rules, not the USPSA rules, not the Three Gun Nation rules, you're outlaw. That's what we call outlaw.
Right.
And like I said, there's definitely a place for some outlaw, and I love me some outlaw fun sometimes.
Heck yeah.
But overall, the sooner we can all kind of come together, I think it's going to be best for the sport in the long run.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree, man. It's like you know, football back when it was the you know what, UFL and AFL or whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
So what is different then about USSL or UML specifically, because this is the three-gun show, than other sanctioning bodies? Like, what's your unique, you know, what we would call in marketing, unique selling proposition?
Well, I mean, obviously with our qualification titles, you know, going off of how you shoot in a match, that changes a lot. That's different than any kind of classification system, or reshoot this or shoot this a million times till you get a score or whatever. That's setting people up to now slide into positions exactly where they perform. And I believe truly that that's probably the best system. That's the best system I've ever come up with. And I didn't come up with it myself. There's many people that have been a part of this whole thing. I mean, we designed classifiers, tons of them. And we kept arguing, what's the best three-gun classifier? Is it a two-gun? Is it a one-gun? How do we do this? Do we make them do pistol, rifle, and shotgun separate classifiers and force them to score one of each? You know, there was a million. And finally, we were like, wait, why are we doing this? The reality is, what's best is how people perform when they're forced to perform. And that's where our qualification title sets us apart. And outside of that, our scoring that me, Mark Zebart, and the other guys that are on the rules board came up with was basically an answer to the constant battle of time plus, straight time plus points, and the fights within them. It was a constant battle on Facebook and social media of straight time is stupid, or time plus points is stupid, and this is why this sucks, and this is why. And we just wanted to come up with something that would be fair, fast, tight, and fun. And essentially that's what our scoring is. It's the tightest scoring system out there. And I can tell you right now, last year at Surefire, I had 10 of the top shooters in the country shooting in the TAC squad. And after day one, after shooting 5 stages, I had guys like Keith Garcia come up to me and say, dude, I've never felt this kind of pressure. It's never been so tight. we are all 10 of us are separated by less than 5 points. So you and I both know when you go to most majors, you're going to be like, okay, well, there's those guys, and then there's this gap, and then there's those guys fighting, and then there's a gap, and then there's the field.
Yep.
The same thing happens at your local club match. It's like those 2 guys, then a gap, then those 5 guys, then a gap, then the field. Well, now the top of my local club, it's 10 guys all within 5% of each other.
Huh.
So our scoring system, it just tightens everything up. And it's not straight time, and it is time plus points, but it's not the traditional 100 points per stage. It's points based on the speed that the stage was shot so that all the stages start to balance. So essentially, if you shoot a match and you're shooting TAC division and you have the winning time on stage 1 and your winning time on stage 1 is 25 seconds, stage 1 is now worth 25 points. And if tomorrow I go into that same stage and I shoot that stage in 24 seconds, that stage is now worth 24 points. And so essentially, instead of all the stages worth 100 points and all of us fighting over 100 points and a percentage of those, we're now only fighting for 25 points. And so everything got tighter. It brought everybody closer. It brought the bottom guys, it brought the bottom guys up, and it brought the field closer to the top, and it made the top earn every 10th they were trying to earn, which is something we've all been doing in the pistol world for eons. When you go to a pistol match, the top guys are fighting over tenths and hundredths. But we've never done that in the 3-gun world. We were fighting, I'm already 2 minutes ahead. I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But it's not that way anymore. Not with our scoring system. Our scoring system, when you get done with a day, you're like, holy crud, I'm only 4 points off the lead. Like, I'm in it. And it makes you feel pretty good about competing, and it makes you feel pretty good about, working hard and doing it right every single time. Our scoring system forces you to do it right every single time because we're fighting over tenths now.
Huh.
It's awesome. It's fun.
Well, and so one of the biggest complaints about total time is that, one malfunction or, one, gear problem, and you're completely done. You might as well just go home and
Totally.
not shoot the match.
Yep, that was 100% one of the reasons why we wanted to come up with a system that would reduce what the malfunctions or infractions would cause in overall points.
And with with the stage time points per stage, you think you've done that?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if you have a stage that you shoot in 25 seconds, and now we're all fighting over 25 seconds, and I have a jam that say, cost me 7-8 seconds. I've lost quite a lot of time, but we're only fighting over 25 points at that point. So maybe I lost 4 points. Whereas in a straight time, I've lost 7 seconds. And when you start to do the math on a 100-point stage, now that stage is worth 100 points and it was shot in 25 seconds and and I had to spend 7 extra seconds trying to fix my jam, I've now lost, 15, 20 points in the math conversion versus 4 points. And overall, there's not as many points to give out. So those 4 points still hurt. There's never going to be a time in our sport where a malfunction in your gear doesn't hurt. It hurts. It probably hurts worse in straight time. And it hurts pretty bad when somebody can steal 100 points. But when you're only fighting over 20s and 30s, it's reduced considerably. Unfortunately, jams are going to happen. And there's no system that says that. I mean, I even went crazy. I went into a point where I was like, all right, what if we create a system that says if somebody has a jam and the jam takes more than 2 seconds, we'll roll back the clock. I mean, that's how crazy I got about it.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, all right, here's what we'll do. If it's longer than 2 seconds, then we will roll back the clock. We'll say, okay, we can review the clock, and we'll say that jam cost him 10 seconds, so we're going to roll 8 seconds off because that was an inappropriate. But reality is you can't do that. It would take so much time.
Oh, yeah, and then you get Gamer Dave in there, losing his mind in the middle of a stage and faking a malfunction.
Yeah. Let me just pull my shotgun off my shoulder. Oh yeah, when I shoot it like this, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I lost some sleep trying to figure out a way to do that. And what it came down to was we offer up too many points in a stage. When we do a stage that may take, last year at a major match, they had a stage that took people like 5 seconds to shoot, and they were giving away 100 points on that stage.
Yeah.
Just imagine on that stage. Just take that stage for instance. On that stage where the winner shot that stage in 5 seconds, if you had a 10-second jam on that stage, you got 50 points, they got 100. You lost 50 points because that's the stage, period, end of story.
Right.
Now on ours, that would be a 5-second stage, meaning it's worth 5 points, which means you'd get 2.5 points. So you lost 2.5 points.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's an easy way to explain it. If a match has a stage like that, our scoring system automatically balances that stage so that all the stages kind of balance out. If you've got a 2-minute rifle stage and a 6-second stand and shoot, that 2-minute rifle stage is going to be worth 2 minutes worth of time, 120 points.
Yep.
So now that long range skill set and the things that are necessary to be a great 3-gunner, it's worth it to be great at that long range stage. And on that stand and shoot, you had a jam. Oh, well, you lost 2.5 points, bro.
Huh. Interesting. I like that.
People a lot smarter than me came up with this, bro. It ain't me. People a lot smarter than me decided we were sick of the fight of straight time versus time into 100 points.
Yeah.
And this is what we came up with. And now all 4 leagues exist under this scoring system. And it's amazing. It works insane in the pistol world. And it's working really good in the steel world also.
Now, you said that there's like different avenues in the rifle world. I kind of read between the lines there and thought maybe there's carbine and precision matches. How does that scoring play out in the rifle league?
Yeah, so our rifle league, we're already currently running what we call short and mid here locally. Short would be inside the base, 50-yard shots, PCC 22 long rifle, all good to go. It's almost like a pistol match with a couple of 50-yard shots mixed in. And then we're scoring that under the expedition scoring system. And then we have our mid match. And I've been already running my mid match for a couple months. So what it is it's shots from inside the bay and some tight paper all the way out to 350 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we've brought long range back in. So the PCC only in the 22 long rifle divisions, they don't play in there. We now have just rifle shooting 308s, open, tack, and limited. And the limited guys, obviously, if you're not good at 350-yard limited shots, you're going to struggle a little bit. The next step is a long match. And the long match is going to be opening up for those 6.5s and 6 Creedmoors and 2 Valkyries and some of those others. And we're pushing that gas gun series out to 800 yards. And we're getting ready to start setting those up and start running those. I have stopped at that level right now. I believe there's some good people doing some good stuff in the precision world. But I have had people nagging me that maybe someday the rifle league will move into a bolt gun series also. One step at a time.
Nice. Yeah, I mean you're growing pretty fast. You've it's like leaps and bounds of growth here as far as shooting opportunities, signing up clubs, signing up members and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a roller coaster, but I'm having a good time.
Yeah, so why is UML growing so fast? So we have other sanctioning bodies in 3-gun. We have USPSA. There's the other rule set that you mentioned that I never forget. There's a 3-Gun Nation rule set. Now, I wasn't around when 3-Gun Nation came in. Was there like a mad rush to go to that rule set when they came in, or because I'm?
Yeah, I mean, I was a part of that and the build in the beginning. We ran one of the big first matches at the Nationals, and it was awesome. It was 2 days after the Multigun Nationals that we brought 3-Gun Nation in, and we did a match. I traveled all over the country with them. I joined the Pro Tour, went to Tulsa, had a great time. I honestly, when I would show up to Tulsa and I'd walk around the stages, I was amazed. I mean, everything was it was awesome. I honestly can't give you the information of why UML is doing what it's doing, because I can tell you right now, brother, I'm humbled at the names on this list of members and the clubs that have contacted me, and it's been a roller coaster, and I can't tell you why. I would need you to tell me why. You call me. Let's have another meeting in a year, and you tell me why United Shooting Sports Leagues is growing and why we're still getting more clubs and more members, because right now I'm completely shocked at the growth and so excited for the future, and I'm going to continue to do everything I can to keep pushing it in a positive direction.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Pete, I need your help real quick here. So 2 days from now, or 3 days from now, as we record this, could be the very first UML match in Colorado.
Awesome.
But I need you to help me hope for good weather, because right now it looks shitty and we're going to have to cancel it, dude.
You guys, yeah, right. Winter never came this year for anybody.
Yeah.
And then here it is.
And then here it is, like right now. Yeah. I mean,
it just snowed in St. George. We were in the mid 40s today. Last night was the first night in Vegas it dropped below freezing. Tawny had to wrap her plants in sheets. So yeah, winter's finally here, and you guys might get hit by it. And that we'll pray for good weather for you guys.
Oh, dude, we got hammered with snow like Monday and Tuesday, and then it's been single digits up until today, and we finally got to I think 19 or 20, something like that. But that's not enough for all that snow to melt and then dry up before we go shoot. So I don't think we're gonna be able to do it this weekend, but next month hopefully we'll be able to get her in. But
yeah, definitely.
If a club is interested in becoming associated with USSL, UML, how do they do that?
Right now, they just give me a call. We are never going to charge clubs to be a part of the organization. I believe that clubs wanting to be a part of our organization and help us out just draws more shooters to their range and more members to our org. So as of right now, clubs call me up. We have a good hour-long conversation, or if they're anywhere where I can travel to, which I've been traveling as much as I could, and I'm going to continue to do that. I sit down and we just go over, questions and answers and help them out. Eventually, once the website's all solid, I'll ask that the clubs go ahead and get on there and punch in all their information so people can find them.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, I'm shipping out business cards to the clubs. I'm looking at a couple right now, UML in Oklahoma and Trinity Army Shooting Club. I just shipped them their cards. And it's essentially a card that has all of the league information on one side and then all of the club information on the other side. And it's essentially so that when a member shows up to Brian Corey, UML in Oklahoma, and says, hey, what's UML? What are we doing? He can hand them that card. And now they've got information for him and information for us, so we can try to get them as much as we possibly can. So there's zero requirements. All I'm asking is that they get me the information so I can get them their cards. And as soon as I can get those plugins on the website, we can get members knowing where they can go to shoot UML matches.
I like it. Well, Pete, I think this is a cool thing that you're doing. I like the goal and the vision here, and it's amazing to see the organic nature of the growth. It's like that old thing: if you put out a good product, people come and snatch it up. Well,
yeah, the joke. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, for sure.
I keep trying to build good matches, man.
Well, I've put out on the Facebooks today, a call for questions from people. Like, hey, I've got Pete coming on the show. If you have any questions you want to ask, just leave them here and I'll ask them for you. You up for a couple questions from the Peanut Gallery?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, let me start with one that's kind of a summary of some things I've heard from a couple different match directors. So, UML is a 2-gun per stage club, and we can't shoot 3-gun anymore, so that's why we're not swapping. Is that true?
No, yeah. So Expedition Multigun, if you go into Practice Score, the easiest thing to do is everybody's got Practice Score on their phone.
Yeah.
You can go in there and you can look up the club searches, and what you're going to find is UML Traditional and UML Expedition. And Expedition is our scoring system that is a lower value per down point penalty system. And Expedition Multigun was branded and became this system that we used here locally, and that Safariland adopted for their big match, that it was 2 guns per stage. And so every stage we built, was only 2 guns. It was just rifle pistol or pistol shotgun or shotgun rifle in any combination, in any order. And that was where we found that instead of showing up to the range for your local club, helping build or whatever, starting the match at 8:39 and being there till 4 in the afternoon, people were done with their club match at 1 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. And although you and I may be crazy and we may want to stay on the range all day long, a lot of people have families and wives and kids and jobs and other things that they got to go turn to. And what we found was by only putting 2 guns per stage, we were able to speed up the match. People were still shooting multi-gun. People were still having a good time, but it wasn't all 3 guns per stage. Now, Surefire is all 3 guns on every single stage except for the 2 night stages. That's 13 stages, all 3 guns. That Surefire is run under the UML rulebook. So there's absolutely no reason you can't put all 3 guns on your stages. What I will tell you is at a local club match, that takes a lot of time to set those guns and clear those guns and reset that stage. And you get shooters. If you have shooters that are leaving your match before they finish all the shooting, I think you're doing something wrong in your match. I think you need to find a way to make a match that, when I go play a round of golf with my buddies, it's 4 hours, not 8.
Right.
And if a round of golf took 8 hours, probably a lot of people wouldn't be able to go because they got jobs and wives and kids and other responsibilities. So that's all Expedition was. It was just to speed things up. But you can do 2 different things. You can use all 3 guns in Expedition or traditional. UML traditional is the original scoring values that we all know. 5 seconds for a failure to engage, 5 seconds for a procedural or no shoot, 10 seconds for a miss on a clay or steel, and elevated values for long range and MGM spinners and things like that. So you can just click the UML traditional scoring template and you can shoot the same match you've been shooting for the last however many years. The Expedition is just a way to speed things up. It's a way to kind of make the stages a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter, and it honestly speeds up the system quite considerably.
Yeah, the what the hell am I trying to say? The shot Expedition multigun that we shot, the shot show Expedition multigun that we shot went super fast. And what do we shoot? I think we shot 5 stages, or was it 6?
6.
6 stages.
6 stages.
Yeah.
You were done by 1:30, 2 o'clock?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
dude,
those were no small stages.
No.
That was legit. You guys were shooting.
And we had enough time to hang around and shoot Scott Green's new Vepr and try out some Limcat pistols that Bobby had.
Imagine you get done with your local club match and you still hang out on the range and do a little training and hang out with your buddies, and that's what we're there for.
I can't tell you how many times I've turned down shooting a cool gun because I gotta go. My dog has got to pee. I gotta go let him out.
Right. And that's essentially what we did. And it's no secret. It's just you're still shooting all 3 guns. You just may only require 2 per stage in that Expedition format, which you shot at SHOT Show. And you had a good time. You still shot. You still transitioned through the guns. You still got to shoot all 3 of your guns, all 4 if you shot 2x4. No reason to build a local club match that takes till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Some places it's getting dark. The ranges require you to get out of the way. You got to tear the whole place down. It's just too much work, man. The Expedition format sets up for a lot of success, but there's no reason any club can't go run all 3 guns on all their stages if they choose to.
Cool. Okay, well, that's good to know. Next question. I forgot who sent me this one. What did you learn from 3Gun Nation, and how is it going to be better?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. One of the things that I really enjoyed when I would go to Tulsa and shoot the 3Gun Nation matches was that speed, the lower penalty values and the faster stages, and I've incorporated that. I truly enjoyed that. Attention to detail and just making sure that everything looked really good, and that's what I really want to do with what we're doing. I wouldn't say I learned or won't learn anything or didn't learn anything. I probably learned the most of everything that I've tried to figure out over the 8 years of shooting local matches and building local matches every single weekend, and having guys like Robbie Latham and Michael Voigt and Nils Jonassen and Bobby and Greg Fittis and all these guys come to my matches. These are all some of the top names in the sport from past and future. I've had the blessing of having the veterans as well as the future all tell me that what I was doing was solid. You know, you got Travis Gibson and Wyatt Gibson. Travis has been around a long, long time, shot more matches than any of us ever have.
Yep.
And now his kid's just killing it. And when they both come up to me and say, "You're doing a good job," that means I got the vets and I got the future. And I'm just going to keep evolving however I need to.
Yeah. And Travis is not easily impressed. He's been there, done that.
Travis is a tough one, man. I love that guy, but Travis is a handful. But he's my favorite, man. We're family, we're friends.
That's awesome.
When we're on the range, we're rubbing and racing, and that's what it's all about. And when we're done, we're having a toast and eating steaks. So it's good to go.
Awesome. All right. So Pete, why are you trying to accommodate people that only want to shoot 2 guns? This is 3 gun.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of that guy, what comes down to is locally, I have a lot of my LE, I have some SWAT teams, and I have a lot of guys that were coming out to try to shoot 3 gun that don't own a shotgun, don't like the shotgun, don't need the shotgun in their day-to-day work. And as well as I believe that our sport is a sport. And when people start talking about the tactical roots, I kind of chuckle because it's like maybe we had tactical roots, but we've long surpassed that. This is a game.
Yeah.
We are all playing a game with game guns and standing in the middle of nowhere and shooting everything as fast as we can. So the ability to be able to get my local LE guys to come back and shoot was awesome. And what it came down to was, hey, man, we don't have shotguns. We don't shoot shotguns. Why don't you do a 2-gun match? Well, yeah, all right, let's do a 2-gun match for you. So I do a 2-gun match, and then all my 3-gunners are mad because they can't come shoot 3-gun. So I do a 2-gun match or 3-gun match, and now all my guys that don't have shotguns and my LEs can't come play. Well, why not just find a way to make them all play?
Yeah.
This is simple math. Like, all I did was push the knockdowns out a little bit further, and now the LE guy shoots them with his pistol, and the shotgun guy shoots them with their shotgun. And now I got 2-gun and 3-gun at the same time on the same playing field. More members, more shooters, good for guns.
I like that, man. You know, and I like something you said there is, you know, this is a game. Like I personally came out to shoot 3-gun my first time around because I wanted to test my gear just in case the shit hit the fan. But yeah, right. It's funny to laugh at now, but I completely embraced the game part of it because I really enjoy the sport. And I'll say that one thing that you've done, and maybe you can tell me if my perception's off on this, but you've created a whole new target for UML, USSL that does not have a head box, which makes it easier to sell to the public, right? So when we talk about like our martial roots, our tactical roots or whatever, you know, that head box going away is a bad thing. But when we talk about like the progression of the sport and how we're viewed by the outside public, it seems like a pretty good thing.
Yeah, man, if I want to go shoot, you know, head targets, I can go any range I want and buy zombie targets and buy targets and shoot black targets and brown targets and head targets. And my guys, we still shoot, you know, metric targets. We're good to go. There's no rule in our book that says you can't shoot whatever target you want, but our new target was just, yeah, our rule book doesn't restrict targets. If you want to shoot metrics, classics, squares, it don't matter, man. Shoot something that you can score and have a good time.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, it's in the rules. But our target, it was created because once I started to try to figure out how to make the reset faster. Okay, so let's as fast as we can think about the evolution. To reset a stage faster, you have to not put the paper so far away. Because essentially, that's you having to walk down range to take that paper.
Yeah, absolutely. And no one's going to run.
Yeah. So now we bring the paper in closer. Well, now you bring the paper in closer, and the dang targets are huge. You know, we got a rifle, and you're running through 3, 4, 5, 7 yard paper with a rifle. That's a lot of wasted money in 223 ammo. So we were like, you know, yeah, why don't we evolve the target? We brought everything closer. Let's evolve the target. Let's go back to the bullseye roots. Let's go back to a target that has a center scoring zone and not an elevated upper scoring zone. And when we created the hex target, it was a conglomeration, obviously, with MGM targets, but also that was a huge fight. I'm gonna tell you right now, with the names that are on my board, that are on my committee, helping me with rules, that was a huge, long 3-month battle of why would we rotate this? Why do we want to do that? Why should we do that? And that's where we settled. And we settled on the target. And before we made one, we were still kind of confused. But when the thing showed up, we were so in love with it. It was like, this is awesome. And now I do a lot of my training on it. I do a lot of my classes on it. I've had MGM build me some solid steel that are 18-inch hexes in the same orientation.
Oh, cool.
So now we're shooting those as gongs and training tools. And yeah, the target was a simple evolution in the future of what I believe is a sport, and going in the right direction towards, let's bring some more juniors in and some more ladies in and some more people that maybe not be as into guns as you and I.
Yeah, I've actually had a guest on the podcast where we spoke after the show, and candidly, and he said that because of his faith and his belief, that he has a hard time going to a match and shooting humanoid targets. And, he loves the sport, loves shooting the sport, and it doesn't hold him back from doing it. But there's always that sort of, thing in the back of his head of like, I shouldn't be doing this. So, granted, he's probably like the minority of the people that we shoot, but it's nice to be able to have that option out there for people who don't want to shoot humanoid targets.
Yeah, because the rest of us we're going to shoot squares, hexes, humanoids, steel. It don't matter.
Ducks.
We're shooting targets.
Yep.
Yeah, ducks, deer, whatever. We're shooting targets. We're having a good time. We're gun people. But I've got people that I've got juniors and ladies that are part of my team and that are out there that are pushing the envelope. And it's a sport, man, and it's an awesome sport. And we're having a great time out there doing really good stuff and being safe in the process and utilizing these tools as just something that we use for our sport.
Well, I like it. All right, so we've got 3 questions left. First up, out of our last 3 is Josh Vanentop, and he says, how would I guess I'll ask this to you. How would you recommend getting 3-gun into places it's currently not? Right now, the closest match for me is 3 hours away, but there is a USPSA club close that used to run 3-gun and quit. I did make an attempt at getting 3-gun back in there, but it stalled out when it came to finding ROs.
I don't, all I could say there would be to contact, and anybody. I mean, they are welcome to contact my organization and find a way to make it a little bit simpler to set up. And that's the biggest problem we had at my local club 8 years ago was we only had one 3-gun match every quarter. And it was a range that didn't have the ability to set up early. You had to set up the morning of, and to try to build an entire, think about building SHOT Show match the morning of. Yeah, absolutely impossible.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, so one of the biggest problems is I can build a box-to-box, small fault line, couple of walls pistol match. That's pretty fun. But to try to build a 3-gun match with pickups and dumps and long range and shotgun and everything that's going on, it's pretty difficult. And you need a lot of support, and you need a range that offers the ability to maybe come in the day before and start the build. And that's just a big conversation with the local community, the local club, the local range. And I'd be willing to do anything I need to fly out to those locations and try to offer the support and give them the benefits. The benefits is another weekend of people coming to your facility, people that come to your facility, whether you're a for-profit range or a county range or a nonprofit range. It's publicity. It's people coming to your facility. It's good for shooting. And it opens up the member base for that range and the member base for that club. So I don't know 100% how to answer that question other than the fact that I'd be willing to try. I'd be willing to help if I could.
Cool. Sounds like the short answer is give Pete a call.
Give me a call, man. I'm traveling. That's all I'm doing. My plans for 2018 are to travel anywhere I need to do anything I can do to try to help support.
Nice. Well, and one of the other things I will say is having dealt with club boards before is that having a standard rule set from a sanctioning body is a huge thing. Like they want to see that this is a nationally accepted rule set that is in in practice in place in various ranges around the country, and you've definitely got that with USSL.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why we went so far forward with it as fast as we did. Is we had a couple of clubs contact us and say, "Hey, man, we really want to do what you're doing, but our local range is a county range and requires us to have these legalities." And that's what caused me to call the lawyers and call the business people and make sure I did it right.
I like it. All right, next question is from Kevin Travis, and he says, you're at the forefront of making divisions that are more accessible to all manners of shooter, two-gunners, PCC only, etc. All will be very successful moves, especially with the number of shooters who are anti-shotgun. Have you looked at or heard of Patrol Division, and is it a division you could see incorporating into UML in the future?
I read a post, a little bit of a post about that not too long ago, but I can't answer exactly everything that Patrol Division entails. Obviously, we have so many divisions. I mean, we have 4 different leagues, and there's about 8 divisions in each league, and there's all the kinds of good stuff going on. And there's a couple of discussions about watering down divisions and making divisions where there's not enough people competing. One of the things we're dealing with our 308 division and trying to figure out how to make that work, and how limited 10 in the USPSA world has failed and things like that. But if there's something out there that there's a majority of people or a class of people, a group of individuals that want to be a part of it, and it's something we can adopt, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to take the emails and the phone calls.
Cool. So sounds like answer there again is email Pete.
Yeah, well, there you go.
All right. Our last question here is from Lou Mendez, and he says, what sort of plans do you have for keeping United Multigun League around for the long haul? What will clubs make them want to use this? We are in need of something to keep the interest up and to help bring new people in. This might be our answer.
Yeah, that's our qualification and ranking system. I mean, I have people already contacting me. They hit me up and they go, "Hey man, I shot a match. Do I get my points? I shot a match. Can I? Well, are you still keeping track of scores?" So we're comping the qualification system through March now, because I'm still testing the system and trying to figure out how it works and trying to figure out how I can implement it the best. But those two systems combined, creating a 2-tier direction for members to grow, whether they're the best shooters in the world or they are the best shooters in the world, or they want to become the best shooters in the world. And that's essentially what I believe is our biggest strength. Is we have the ability to reward people that want to help and assist their local clubs and get these matches on the ground for people to come shoot. And then we're also then going to reward shooters for coming to those matches and performing at a high level. And all levels, our rookie division is 50%. So it's kind of the crease award. So the high rookie is the guy that got as close to 50% without going over. And then your marksman, sharpshooter, expert, semi-pros, and pros. So we have a multi-faceted echelon of both directions going outward. And I believe that's going to be our strength in coming years. Nice.
All right. Well, I'm a rookie myself. I'm looking to progress in the field here. I feel like the league is creating like a ton of interest, Pete, and I'm pretty excited for shooting it here locally, and then coming to shoot one of your major matches this year and seeing what those are all about. It's amazing that you're able to get this much excitement behind it this early in the game.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm shocked and humbled at the same time, and it just drives me to work even harder. I'm literally bringing in a guy that has been a part of my organization for a long, long time, and he's actually leaving his home, moving down here to help take over some of my roles at the local club so that I could put more time into the United Shooting Sports Leagues. I'm stepping away from, and it's something that Michael Voigt told me years ago. If you ever want to really grow this, you're gonna have to step away from the local thing. Now, I'll never leave my local club. I will be out there as often as I can, and I'll be teaching as much as I possibly can. But having somebody come in and take on some of my roles at the local club, so that allows me to continue to progress and evolve what we're doing in United Shooting Sports Leagues, The response and the growth that I'm getting is just causing me to want to work harder.
I love it. Well, Pete, we've had a great talk tonight about USSL and UML. I've got 2 last questions for you that I ask all my guests, and I'm going to modify this first one here, but generally I ask, where do you see the sport of three-gun headed? I've had you on the podcast before and asked you that one here, and your answer is probably going to be a little bit different this time, but let's change it a little bit. If you could look out 10 years in the future, we're at 2028. What is USSL? What does UML look like?
Oh man, 2028. There's a couple presidents down the road.
I know.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm looking right now. I have a 3 to 5 year, and of course a bigger year plan. I look at my 3 to 5 because I'm looking at how the ranking system is going to evolve and how we're going to start setting up those echelons. I'm looking at 5 years as an elite members and executive members start to come into play, start to lead the organization nationwide rather than just West Coast. Right now, obviously, we're here on the West Coast. I have tons of support. I have support in the mid area of the country with Brian Corey, and all the way out to the east with Strategic Match Design helping us out. But I see a nationwide conglomerate of great individuals that have been working hard to grow the sport in 10 years, and elite members and executive members running the entire United Shooting Sports Leagues in all different leagues and all different facets, and people being able to go to their local club and shoot pistol one week, steel match the next week, rifle match the next week, multi-gun match the next week, and you don't have to wait a month to go shoot again. You can go whenever you want. And that's what I believe would be the couple clubs that I have that are already running every single week and already running all 4 leagues. If that could grow all over the country, it'd be amazing for the sport. It'd be amazing for ranges, the amount of members that could come in and join and be members of those ranges. It'd be great for guns, great for gun sales, great for the sponsors. That's where I see the future.
Pete, I love that. If you can leave the audience with one thought or one piece of advice, what would it be?
Man, just give it a try. Go out and shoot. It doesn't matter if it's just USSL. Go to a match, interact with the people, ask questions, find out what you want to do. I started in cowboy action, bro. Me and Tawny's first matches in practical shooting were cowboy action matches.
Dude, I could see you in a hat and chaps.
Yeah, there's a picture floating around out there with me with long hair. It's crazy, dude. It was in Colorado. It was just outside of Colorado Springs.
Oh, no way.
With long hair and a cowboy hat and a vest and my revolver's on, and it's comedy. But we tried everything. We shot IDPA, USPSA, 3-Gun Nation, cowboy action. Go out and shoot. Ask people about shooting. Ask people about what they're doing on the range. Just standing on the range or going to an indoor range and shooting a piece of cardboard, one target in front of you, is not having fun with your guns. Go out, try it, show up to the range, ask questions, watch, and then be ready to have a good time, and just give it a shot. And I want to find a way to get more people involved in safe, efficient gun handling, because ultimately that's what we force in our sports. We force safety. We force you to do it right, or we're going to DQ you and send you home. And we're some of the safest people. People freak out that we're running with guns, but you and I both know if you go to the range with a bunch of people that have never shot a match, they're walking around with their pistols facing in all different directions. We're some of the safest people on the range. So come out, have a good time, learn about cold range, learn about clearing your guns all the time, learn about being safe, and have a good time with your friends, shooting and playing a game and evolving the sport.
Pete, that's a great final thought, man. It's the reason that we're all into it is the camaraderie and the shooting sports and competing. I love that aspect of it. Pete, man, we've been all over the map with USSL and UML, man. I'm really excited to start shooting the matches, and I'm proud to be a member, man. I think what you're doing is cool, and I thank you for your time, dude. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on the show, and I guess 2 years from now we could do it again.
Let's do it sooner than that.
get out to a match, man. Get out here to one of the bigger ones, or even just come out for the club. And I'm going to be coming to visit you guys real soon because I've got some stuff going on in Colorado. And of course, we're doing the Wyoming Governor's Cup. So
that's right.
We'll be seeing you soon. But you come out and shoot with us. We'll get some beers, and we'll definitely, have some live stuff on the range. And appreciate it, brother. We'll see you on the range.
Hey, before you take off, check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com for links to things that we discussed in the podcast. You can also sign up on Patreon as a 3 Gun Show supporter or purchase 3 Gun Show apparel. This podcast is brought to you by Breda USA, Italian shotguns that are the best in the world. And this is a shotgun tech tip from Team Breda. Hey, this is Dave Hartman from the 3 Gun Show, and I'm with Josh Tarrant of Team Breda, and we are going to show you a shotgun tech tip. Josh, what do you got?
All right, today I'm going to teach you guys how to do an emergency reload or a bolt lock reload. You have fired your last round, your gun's gone empty. You don't want it to be empty, you need to get it back in the game. So what you're going to do is immediately get the gun in your loading position, draw your shells, close the bolt, perform your reload, trip your release, rack it, back shooting.
And that's your tech tip for today from Josh Tarrant of Team Breda. Check out Breda's B12i 3-gun ready inertia-driven shotgun at bredausa.com. That's BREDA. Quick reminder that if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcast content, so you will always get the very latest. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.